Welcome to the deep dive. The air is buzzing. You can practically feel the energy. It's Google I/O 2025. And, wow. After what feels like just this nonstop flood of AI news from Google and Alphabet, the world is really on the edge of its seat.
Yeah, it definitely feels different this year. More weight to it.
Totally. This isn't just, another developer conference. It feels like we're at a real inflection point for artificial intelligence. So for this deep dive, that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to get a peek behind the curtain.
See what they might announce, what they should announce, maybe.
Exactly. What Google's likely to reveal this week, and maybe even what they ought to. We're here to explore, where AI is headed and the really vital role our community plays in shaping it all. We've sifted through, honestly, a mountain of insights to bring you this perspective. Okay, let's unpack this.
It's pretty remarkable, actually, when you think about the journey. It's been, a decade now? Google moving towards this AI-first idea.
Right. It wasn't overnight. Pichai started talking about this ages ago.
Exactly. It's been a deliberate, fundamental shift. You can trace it back like the seeds were planted with Google Brain in 2012, then DeepMind in 2014.
And now that massive investment, the $75 billion just for this year.
Yeah, $75 billion. And what's fascinating is how that long-term vision is now, it's delivering real results. You can see it.
Tangible results, not just, cool research papers anymore. We're talking actual impact.
Precisely. If you look at Alphabet's financials recently, AI's fingerprint is all over it. That core advertising revenue, up 45% year over year. They're saying that's directly because of AI.
Wow, 45%.
And the cloud division, that's pulling in $12 billion a year now, just from AI-related stuff. So it's a huge evolution, from search and ads to this broad AI leadership.
And Gemini is right at the heart of all this, isn't it? Feels like it's evolving incredibly fast.
Absolutely. That March 2025 release, Gemini 2.5, that was a big step architecturally. They introduced what they're calling thinking models.
Thinking models, what does that actually mean?
It basically means the AI does more internal reasoning before it gives you an answer. Like it's double-checking its work, thinking it through a bit more.
Ah, okay. So better accuracy, more reliable outputs.
Exactly. It leads to noticeable improvements in performance and just, trusting what it says more.
And the performance benchmarks look pretty good too, right?
They do. Gemini 2.5 Pro is leading in a lot of key areas: math, science, coding, and crucially, multimodality.
Multimodality meaning it handles different kinds of input. Text, images.
Yeah, text, images, audio, video, all natively within one system, seamlessly. Plus, that million-token context window, that's huge.
1 million tokens, what does that let it do?
Well, think of it like it's working memory. It can hold the equivalent of hundreds of pages of text active at once. So analyzing really complex, long documents or conversations becomes possible.
Okay, that's some serious horsepower. So with that foundation, let's talk I/O buzz, AI mode in search. That seems like the big one everyone's watching.
Arguably, yeah. It's the headline announcement many are expecting, and for good reason. AI mode isn't just tweaking search. It's fundamentally rethinking how we interact with Google, moving beyond that familiar search box.
Right, the box we've used forever.
So the expectation is the official launch of this dedicated AI mode powered by Gemini 2.5, a truly conversational, multimodal search experience.
And we've seen hints of this already, haven't we, in testing?
Yes, they've been doing grayscale testing. Early reports sound pretty interesting. It apparently supports multimodal queries, so you can search with text, voice, even upload an image to start things off.
And it remembers the conversation.
Exactly. Multi-turn conversation. It keeps track of the context, like you're talking to someone who actually remembers what you just asked.
Yeah.
That's a massive leap from just getting a list of links back.
Okay, AI mode is definitely one to watch. What about Project Astra? That one captured a lot of imagination.
Astra is, it's Google's big vision for a universal AI assistant, something that can really perceive and interact with the world around you much more naturally.
Using that multimodal AI you mentioned, seeing and hearing.
Right, processing speech and visual info in real time. It's still very much R&D, but we've seen bits of it pop up already.
Like in Gemini Live, wasn't there a demo at Mobile World Congress?
Exactly. They showed off features like live video analysis, screen sharing, powered by AstraTech. So at I/O, maybe we'll see more demos of its contextual awareness.
Like through those prototype glasses, maybe? Seeing what you see?
That's the dream, isn't it? Having it understand your immediate surroundings and offer help, that kind of seamless interaction is the goal.
And then there's Project Mariner. That sounds interesting too, automating web stuff.
Yeah, Mariner is a research prototype. It uses an earlier Gemini 2.0, but it's focused specifically on automating things you do in a web browser.
So like it could fill out forms or book things for you?
Potentially, yeah. It's designed to understand website structures, automate repetitive tasks. It can take your instructions, figure out the steps, navigate pages, and even explain why it did what it did. Transparency.
Like an AI co-pilot for browsing.
Sort of, yeah. Hints at a future where AI agents really help us manage our online lives.
Okay, and we're also expecting, or at least hoping for, an upgrade to their top model, Gemini Ultra.
That's the expectation. An enhanced Gemini Ultra. And maybe that comes with new subscription tiers too. Premium Plus, Premium Pro, something like that.
Offering more power, bigger context windows maybe.
Exactly. More advanced capabilities for users with really demanding tasks.
And shifting gears slightly, what about the immersive side, Android XR?
Right. Android 16 got its moment recently, but I/O seems like the place for Android XR news. That's their extended reality OS, built with Samsung.
Powered by Gemini AI, presumably.
Yes, integrating VR, AR, MR experiences for smart glasses, headsets including Samsung's Project Muinen that everyone's curious about.
So Google's serious about mixed reality then?
Seems like it, establishing a strong foothold there.
Now, none of this happens without some serious hardware muscle underneath. Google's infrastructure investments seem key.
Absolutely critical. Their ongoing investment in their own AI hardware, the TPUs, that's a massive competitive edge. The latest one, Trillium, the 6th-gen TPU. The numbers are pretty wild.
How wild.
Like 4.7 times the peak compute performance per chip compared to the last one, and 67% better energy efficiency.
Wow, okay. That's not just a little bump. That's huge for both power and efficiency.
It really is. And that dedicated hardware lets them run these powerful models more cost-effectively. It puts them in a great spot, performance-wise, for the cost. Their flash models, the fast, efficient ones, that's thanks to this hardware.
But all this computing power must use a ton of energy, right? That's becoming a bigger conversation.
Oh, definitely. It's a major consideration.
Yeah.
The energy demands are substantial. Pichai himself has talked about electricity potentially becoming a bottleneck down the road.
So what are they doing about it?
It's a multi-pronged thing, investing heavily in cleaner energy, solar, nuclear, geothermal, and also working on improving the grid itself. It's a big challenge.
Yeah, makes sense. And of course, Google isn't alone here. The competition is fierce. OpenAI, Meta.
That's right. It's an incredibly dynamic space. ChatGPT, Meta AI, lots of others pushing hard. The user numbers from March, just as a snapshot, had Gemini's app around 350 million monthly users.
Compared to ChatGPT and Meta AI?
Yeah, ChatGPT was reported around 600 million, Meta AI around 500 million. So big numbers all around. But Google has some unique advantages.
Like what specifically? What are their strengths?
Well, their whole ecosystem, right? All those products. That gives them incredible data for personalization, used responsibly, of course.
With permission, yeah.
Then there's the infrastructure we just talked about for scaling cost effectively. The deep integration across services, making it feel seamless for users. And crucially, all that search data. It's a powerful feedback loop for optimizing Gemini.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, switching gears a bit, we came across this really interesting, more visionary idea called Project Synergy. What's that about?
Yeah, this was a fascinating concept we explored. It's hypothetical, mind you, but it frames I/O as a potential launch pad for something much bigger, a fundamental rethink of Google's mission.
Bigger how?
Like leveraging their tech and resources to tackle major global challenges. Project Synergy is envisioned as this integrated framework with 3 huge initiatives.
Okay, sounds ambitious. What are the pillars?
First is the Global Intelligence Commons, basically democratizing AI, distributed intelligence networks, a universal access layer, co-creating knowledge with AI. The idea is even open sourcing the core architecture, setting up an independent foundation for governance.
Wow, democratizing AI, that's a bold goal.
It really is. The second part is the resilience network. Think planetary scale, an Earth intelligence system, like a digital twin of the planet.
A digital twin of Earth, seriously?
Yeah, combined with a community response grid to help communities during crises and a regenerative economics engine, using AI to foster sustainable economies. Imagine deploying it first in 100 climate-vulnerable regions.
That's incredibly ambitious, almost sci-fi.
It is. And the third part is the Transition Academy, a massive learning ecosystem to help people adapt to the AI economy. Personalized learning, skills matching, physical community innovation hubs.
Hubs for training and stuff.
Exactly. The vision included like $10 billion for 1,000 hubs globally, partnerships for 5 million transition-ready jobs. It's huge thinking.
And this all ties into some kind of new philosophy for the AI age.
Pretty much. proposing a new social contract, radical transparency in AI, shared prosperity, like maybe 30% of AI revenue goes to transition fund, environmental regeneration, aiming for carbon negative, and more democratic governance of AI. It's framed as a call to co-create the future, really.
That's a radically different vision for Google. Okay, so that's the hypothetical. We also looked at a recent deep interview with Sundar Pichai himself. What were his key takeaways?
Well, he really doubled down on the AI first for a decade idea. He sees AI as the main driver for progress in search. Absolutely.
Did he mention AI overviews?
Well, yeah. Highlighted their success, 1.5 billion users globally now. And he talked up the upcoming AI mode for search, allowing those much longer conversational queries we discussed.
And the innovator's dilemma idea. Is Google worried about disrupting the search?
He basically dismissed it, said it's critical to lean into innovation, follow the user. He pointed to mobile YouTube Shorts as examples where they adapted, even if monetization wasn't clear at first.
Makes sense. What about the Gemini app itself?
He mentioned growing engagement there, especially with 2.5 Pro integrated, and hinted at upcoming features, video generation, Gemini Live improvements, real-time interaction.
What about the cost of running all this AI? Was he concerned?
He expressed confidence in their infrastructure, especially the TPUs, to handle costs efficiently. He actually said latency, the speed of response, is a bigger factor they focus on than raw cost per query.
Interesting. And the ad revenue with AI overviews.
He said it's basically at the baseline of traditional search, maybe even better in some cases. So financially, it seems okay so far.
So the focus internally is just speed. Keep innovating.
Exactly. He conveyed a sense that Google's really picked up the pace, highlighted YouTube and cloud as strong, growing businesses too. But infrastructure is still that core advantage, delivering top models cost-effectively because of their TPUs.
Which are now in their 7th generation, apparently, Ironwood.
Yeah, he mentioned 7th-gen TPUs, over 40 exaflops with Ironwood, and reiterated that about half their 2025 capital spending is going to boost the cloud business.
What about NVIDIA? Are they still partners, or is it all TPU now?
He spoke very highly of NVIDIA, called them a phenomenal, long-standing partner, said a lot of Gemini still runs on NVIDIA GPUs, but he was firm on Google's long-term commitment to TPUs. It's about having flexibility. Using both gives them an edge.
And research beyond just LLMs, are they looking at other AI approaches?
Definitely. He mentioned research beyond transformers, like into diffusion models, which are big for generative AI. And he talked about the opportunity to create better user experiences by using context from Gmail, YouTube with permission, always stressing that.
Right, personalization with consent. Did he talk about the future of interaction beyond screens?
Yeah, he sees it becoming more seamless, ambient. He specifically mentioned AR glasses as potentially the next big platform shift, like smartphones were back in 2006, 2007.
So they are still investing heavily in hardware then? AR, robotics.
Confirmed. Significant investment in AR glasses, robotics, pixel phones, data centers, and Waymo, their self-driving car company.
Speaking of Waymo, any updates there?
He didn't give specifics, but highlighted it as an example of patient, long-term investment paying off. Mentioned it could be a $100 billion business.
Wow. And are the founders, Larry and Sergey, still involved? Especially with all this AI stuff.
He said they're both actively engaged, very interested. Specifically mentioned Sergey Brin is quite involved with the Gemini team. Pichai thinks that brings valuable energy and perspective.
Good to hear. What about the competition? How does he view OpenAI, Meta, etc.?
Expressed respect for them. OpenAI, xAI, Meta, Microsoft. Said the competition is driving progress for the whole field, and the opportunity in AI is just vast. He also acknowledged new models emerging, like DeepSeek from China.
Recognizing the global talent pool.
Right. Acknowledged China's strong AI talent, the rapid evolution everywhere. Mentioned they benchmark internally against models like Flash.
Okay, back to the practical challenges. Energy. Did he elaborate on that constraint?
He did acknowledge electricity generation as a likely future constraint, stressed the need for innovation in energy, solar, nuclear, geothermal, plus grid upgrades and workforce development for that sector.
So it's not just about building more power plants.
Apparently, the current bottlenecks are often more around permitting and getting the skilled workforce in place rather than the tech itself.
Interesting. You mentioned Waymo as long-term investment. What about quantum computing? Is that still on the radar?
Very much so. He sees quantum as being where AI was maybe around 2015. Predicted really useful practical computation from quantum in maybe 3 to 5 years. Views Google's efforts as being at the frontier.
And we'd likely access that via the cloud.
That's the idea, yeah. Making quantum resources available through cloud platforms.
And finally, robotics. Anything concrete there?
He confirmed they have advanced R&D teams working on it,
Yeah.
using those Gemini vision language action models. Didn't announce products, but hinted at future developments. And mentioned Intrinsic, their subsidiary, potentially developing an android for robotics.
A common platform for robots. That could be huge.
Yeah, it could be, accelerate the whole industry.
Wow. Okay, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive, looking at what might come at Google I/O 2025. It really feels like we're on the cusp of some major, truly transformative shifts in AI.
Absolutely. The potential announcements, the strategic directions we've discussed it, just underscores how significant this event is for understanding where AI is heading. The scale of Google's ambition is immense, and the potential impact, well, it's huge.
So, as we all watch I/O unfold, it really makes you think, doesn't it? Which of these potential directions, these announcements, do you find most compelling? What could the implications be for your own work, your life, our society?
Yeah, it feels like a crucial time to consider that balance.
Yeah.
The balance between pushing innovation forward incredibly fast and making sure we do it responsibly as AI keeps evolving at this breakneck pace.
Definitely food for thought. We really encourage you to keep exploring these topics, share your perspectives. Your feedback is always valuable as we try to make sense of this all together.